Jackie Jr. is one of the saddest characters in The Sopranos, because his downfall does not come from one single bad decision. It comes from being trapped between three different father figures, and every one of them gives him a different version of manhood that he cannot actually live up to. His biological father gives him a name, Tony gives him warnings, Ralph gives him the fantasy, and by the end, all three of those things help destroy him. The first father in Jackie Jr.'s life is the one who is not there anymore. His real father is dead before Jackie Jr. ever truly becomes a man, and that absence shapes everything about him. On paper, his father wanted something better for him. He wanted Jackie Jr. to go to school, become a doctor, stay clean, and live a life outside the mob. That is the version everyone repeats. Jackie Jr. is supposed to be the son who escapes. But that is also the problem. The dream his father leaves behind is not really Jackie Jr.'s dream. It is a plan placed on him by a dead man. And because his father is gone, Jackie Jr. has no real way to argue with it, understand it, or grow into it honestly. He just carries it around like an old suit that does not fit. Everyone keeps talking about what his father wanted for him, but no one really looks at who Jackie Jr. actually is. He is not built for medical school. He does not have the discipline. He does not have the patience. He does not seem interested in the work. He likes the idea of being respected, but not the boring process of earning respect in a normal world. He wants the reward without the grind. And because his father was once powerful, Jackie Jr. grows up close enough to the mob to feel its attraction, but far enough away from the real work to misunderstand what it is. That is the first trap. His biological father leaves behind two shadows. One shadow is the clean life he wanted for his son. The other is the criminal status that made his name important in the first place. Jackie Jr. is told to follow the first shadow, but he is drawn to the second one. He wants to be a doctor because people tell him that would honor his father. But he wants to be a gangster because that is where he believes his father's real power came from. This is where Tony enters the picture. Tony becomes the second father figure, but he is never fully honest about what that means. He knows Jackie Jr. is vulnerable. He knows the kid is floating. He knows the name carries weight, and because Tony loved Jackie Jr.'s father, he feels some responsibility to keep the son away from the life. In his own mind, Tony probably thinks he is doing the right thing. He warns him, he scares him, he tells him to stay in school. He tries to push him away from the street. But Tony is also the worst possible person to deliver that message. Because Jackie Jr. looks at Tony and sees proof that the mob works. Tony has the house, the money, the fear, the respect, the family table, the crew around him, and the aura of a man who gets obeyed. So when Tony tells Jackie Jr. to stay out of the life, the message sounds fake. It sounds like a king telling a poor kid not to want the crown. Tony wants Jackie Jr. to obey rules that Tony himself does not follow. He wants him to respect school, but Tony does not respect school. He wants him to be honest with Meadow, but Tony is not honest with his own family. He wants him to avoid crime, but Tony's whole life is crime. He wants him to become ordinary, while Tony gets to remain extraordinary. That hypocrisy matters because Jackie Jr. is not smart enough or mature enough to separate the warning from the messenger. He does not hear wisdom, he hears exclusion. To Jackie Jr., Tony is not saying the life is bad. Tony is saying the life is not for him. And that makes Jackie Jr. want it even more. Tony also makes another mistake. He treats Jackie Jr. like a problem to control, not like a lost young man to guide. He steps in when Jackie Jr. gets too close to Meadow. He steps in when Jackie Jr. acts reckless. He threatens him, embarrasses him, and tries to scare him straight. But he does not really mentor him. He does not sit with him in a serious way and explain the difference between reputation and reality. He does not give him a real path, he just blocks the path Jackie Jr. wants. So Jackie Jr. ends up with no father at all. His real father is gone. Tony is present, but mostly as pressure. Tony tries to protect him, but he also humiliates him. He tries to keep him alive, but he also makes him feel small. And for a kid like Jackie Jr., feeling small is dangerous, because his whole personality is built around trying to feel bigger than he is. That is where Ralph becomes the third father. Ralph is the most damaging one because he gives Jackie Jr. what the other two do not. He gives him attention. He gives him stories. He gives him access. He lets him feel close to the life. He treats him like he might be part of something. Ralph does not raise Jackie Jr. properly. He does not protect him. He does not discipline him in a meaningful way. What he does is worse. He feeds the exact fantasy that is already poisoning him. Ralph knows the power of old stories. He knows that young guys in that world do not just want money. They want a legend they can step into. So when he tells Jackie Jr. about Tony and Jackie Sr. robbing a card game when they were young, he is not just telling a funny old memory. He is handing Jackie Jr. a myth. And Jackie Jr. takes it the wrong way because he is desperate for a shortcut. That story becomes a blueprint in his mind. He hears that Tony and his father made a bold move and came out respected. He hears that crime can turn a young nobody into somebody. He hears that one reckless act can become the beginning of a reputation. But Jackie Jr. misses the part that actually matters. Tony and Jackie Sr. had real backing. They had family connections. They had people willing to forgive them. They also understood the rules better than Jackie Jr. does. They were not just kids playing gangster. They were already inside a world that could absorb their mistake. Jackie Jr. is not in that position. He has a famous name, but he does not have the skill. He has attitude, but not discipline. He has confidence, but not judgment. He has ambition, but no real crew. He thinks the name will protect him, but the name only makes his failure louder. Ralph should understand this better than anyone. He should know that Jackie Jr. is not ready. He should know the kid is copying a story without understanding the cost. But Ralph enjoys the influence. He enjoys being the man who can shape him. He likes being close to Rosalie, close to the old family image, close to the son of a dead boss. Jackie Jr. becomes useful to Ralph's ego. He is not treated like a son. He is treated like a prop. And that is one of the cruelest parts of the story. Ralph acts like a father figure when it is fun. He likes the role when it gives him status. He likes having the kid around when it makes him look connected and important. But when Jackie Jr.'s choices create real consequences, Ralph does not protect him like a father. He becomes part of the machinery that gets him whacked. The card game robbery is where all three fathers come together. His biological father's name gives Jackie Jr. the belief that he is meant for more. Tony's rejection makes him feel like he has to prove himself. Ralph's story gives him the exact stupid idea that proving himself through a robbery might work. So Jackie Jr. walks into that card game with a broken idea of masculinity. He thinks he is doing what his father's generation did. He thinks he is forcing people to respect him. He thinks violence can turn him into someone serious. But instead, he reveals exactly how unserious he is. The robbery goes wrong because Jackie Jr. is not built for pressure. He panics. His crew panics. The whole thing turns from a bold move into chaos. Sunshine gets shot. Furio gets hit. Men connected to Tony are attacked. Suddenly, this is not a kid acting out. This is a direct insult to the structure of the family. And once that happens, the father figures vanish. His biological father cannot save him because the dead can only leave memory, not protection. Tony does not save him because Tony is trapped between his promise to the past and his duty as boss. Ralph does not save him because Ralph does not want to carry the cost of the mess he helped inspire. That is why Jackie Jr.'s death feels so cold. Not because he did nothing wrong. He did plenty wrong. He lied, cheated, disrespected people, played at being something he was not, and helped create a situation where innocent and connected people got hurt. But the tragedy is that every man who was supposed to guide him either abandoned him, used him, or gave him a lesson too late. Tony's role is especially complicated because he does care in his own twisted way. He does not want Jackie Jr. dead at first. He wants him away from the life. But Tony also understands the rules of the world he runs. If someone can rob a protected card game, shoot at made men, and walk away because of his father's name, then Tony's authority becomes weaker. The organization cannot survive on sentiment, it survives on consequences. So Tony pushes the decision toward Ralph, but he does it in a way that still tells Ralph what the answer has to be. Tony does not need to say everything directly. Ralph understands the pressure. He understands what the rules demand. He understands that letting Jackie Jr. live would make him look weak too. That is how Jackie Jr. gets crushed between personal love and criminal structure. As a person, he is someone's son. As a problem, he is a liability. And in Tony's world, the liability wins. Ralph's betrayal is even uglier because Ralph helped create the fantasy, then punished the kid for believing in it. He opened the door just enough for Jackie Jr. to look inside. He let him hear the old stories. He let him imagine himself as part of that history. Then when Jackie Jr. tried to act on the fantasy, Ralph acted like the kid's stupidity came from nowhere. That is the real damage Ralph does. He does not simply fail to be a father. He performs fatherhood without responsibility. He gives Jackie Jr. the excitement of the mob, but not the education. He gives him access, but not protection. He gives him stories, but not wisdom. He gives him the feeling of being chosen, then helps throw him away when the fantasy becomes inconvenient. The biological father's damage is different. He does not actively harm Jackie Jr. in the present, but his absence leaves a vacuum that everyone else fills badly. The son grows up surrounded by adults who praise his father but do not know how to raise him. His father's reputation becomes something Jackie Jr. cannot escape. It makes people expect more from him, but it also gives him a fake confidence. He thinks being the son of a respected man means he has inherited respect itself. But respect in The Sopranos is never that simple. It can be inherited for a while, but it has to be maintained. Jackie Jr. never learns how. He mistakes recognition for power. He mistakes proximity for membership. He mistakes Tony's patience for weakness. He mistakes Ralph's attention for approval. That is why he feels so painfully young. He is not a mastermind. He is not a serious criminal. He is a spoiled, confused, insecure kid trying to act like a man in a world that destroys fake men. Even his relationship with Meadow shows the same pattern. Jackie Jr. wants the image of being with Tony's daughter. He wants the status of it. He wants to be seen as someone worthy of that circle. But he cannot live up to the responsibility. He cheats. He lies. He performs the part of a good boyfriend, a good student, a future doctor. But underneath it all, he is drifting toward the only identity that makes him feel powerful. And because Meadow is smart, his emptiness becomes obvious around her. Their Scrabble scene is funny on the surface, but underneath it shows the truth. Jackie Jr. is pretending to be on a path he cannot handle. He is sitting in a college world that exposes him. Around mob guys, his name gives him weight. Around Meadow, school, and real ambition, he has nothing to stand on. That is the deeper reason he runs toward the street. The normal world humiliates him slowly. The mob world promises to make him important instantly. The tragedy is that each father gives him a different kind of false hope. His real father gives him the hope that he can become better than the life. But because that dream is inherited instead of chosen, Jackie Jr. cannot carry it. Tony gives him the hope that someone powerful is watching over him. But Tony's protection has limits, and once Jackie Jr. crosses the line, Tony becomes boss before he becomes guardian. Ralph gives him the hope that he can enter the life through courage and reputation. But Ralph's version of courage is poisoned by ego, cruelty, and irresponsibility. So, Jackie Jr. is not raised, he is bounced between symbols. The dead father is the symbol of legacy. Tony is the symbol of authority. Ralph is the symbol of temptation. None of them gives him the one thing he actually needs, which is honest guidance from a man willing to stay responsible after the lesson becomes difficult. That is why Jackie Jr. never becomes fully formed. He copies pieces of men around him. He tries to borrow his father's name, Tony's authority, and Ralph's swagger. But he has no real center. He is a collage of bad influences and misunderstood stories. The saddest part is that there are moments where he could have been saved. Not easily, but possibly. If Tony had treated him less like an annoyance and more like a grieving, insecure young man, maybe Jackie Jr. would have listened. If Ralph had stopped feeding him gangster mythology and actually shut him down, maybe the card game never happens. If his father had lived longer, maybe Jackie Jr. would have had a clearer model of what strength actually looked like outside the fantasy. But The Sopranos does not usually give people the father they need. It gives them the father who is damaged in the exact way that damages them further. Tony sees Jackie Jr. through guilt. Ralph sees him through vanity. His biological father becomes a legend instead of a parent. And Jackie Jr. is too weak, too immature, and too hungry for status to survive that. By the time he is hiding after the robbery, the dream is already over. The famous name cannot protect him. Tony's affection cannot protect him. Ralph's connection cannot protect him. Everything he thought gave him value becomes useless at the exact moment he needs it most. His death is not just punishment for one robbery. It is the final result of a boy being surrounded by men who all had power, but none of them gave him a real way to become a man. His biological father left him with a dream he could not live up to. Tony tried to scare him away from a life Tony himself made look powerful. Ralph gave him the fantasy, then helped bury him for believing it. That is Jackie Jr.'s whole story. He was not born into the mob exactly, and he was not outside it either. He was stuck at the edge, close enough to crave it, far enough to misunderstand it, and connected enough to think he was safe. In the end, the three fathers do not save him. They form the trap, one leaves a name, one blocks the door, one whispers that the door can be kicked open, and Jackie Jr., desperate to become somebody, walks straight through it.